What up, guys? Spot on picks here. And last week we did well. We said that Adesanya would put down Whitaker at some point, and he knocked him down in the second round and finished him. So that card we went 8 for 11. Let's improve upon that this week. Let's go 13 for 13. Starting it off, Daniel Spitz versus Tanner Boser. Um, Daniel, this guy, he fought Walt Harris in his last fight. He's taken a bit of time off since then. Yeah, that was back in the mid 2018, and this guy Tanner Boser, man, um, he's one of the most low output fighters I've ever seen. Apparently, he's a karate fighter. He's kind of like a Roy Nelson from Massachusetts, but um, this guy's he's not UFC level in my opinion. This is an interesting matchup because Spitz is kind of like a 6'7" version of Dominick Cruz. The way this guy moves around. And, he won the first round against Walt Harris. He didn't look bad in that fight, but he got caught at the very end of the second round. And, we've seen how good Walt Harris is now. So, um, Tanner Boser, I heard this guy in like an interview or something talking shit. And then I went and watched his tape. And, man, he's just not that good. He kind of just stares at his opponent, doesn't throw many strikes. No wrestling threat. Spitz has a crazy reach advantage in this one, man. So this is just when I seen that they're favoring on Tapology, they're favoring Tanner Boser 78%. I just didn't get it, man. This is an easy pick in my opinion. I got Daniel Spitz all day. Kevin Holland versus Brendan Allen, and I picked Kevin Holland in his last fight versus Chirico, and about halfway through the second round, like he just kept getting taken down. And I thought he was losing the fight. I just turned it off, man. I wasn't trying to watch that. I guess he got a gift decision in that fight. And before that, he got another gift decision versus Mearshart. Um, this guy, I like confident fighters, but this guy's cocky for no reason. Like, he's not that good. He claims to be an action fighter, but most of his fights lately are real boring, man. So, um, now he's taking on Brendan Allen off the Contender Series. And, Brendan Allen, training out of Rufus Sport, good camp. And, you know, in my, like, this is a classic case of a young, hungry, well-rounded fighter fighting someone who doesn't take MMA seriously. Like, uh, I follow Kevin Holland on social media, man. He don't train that much. Like, he mainly just posts shit complaining on Instagram. Um, and, he doesn't take MMA that seriously, in my opinion. Um, he's pretty good at scrambling, but he has practically no takedown defense. He gets taken down rather easily, and you know Brendan Allen in his fight, man, the contender, he finished it pretty quick, but this guy has a nice little skill set, very well rounded, strong in the clinch, and he's training with his training partner Gerald Meashart, who fought Kevin Holland a few fights ago, so that could give him some good insight in this one. And you just can't put any stock in Kevin Holland, guys. I'm just letting you know. You could fade this fight, but um, you know, and I'm just going with the young, hungry guy, more well-rounded. Um, last fight Kevin Holland was just messing around, like he was faking that he had a hurt shoulder or something. Like he just doesn't take the sport seriously, and you can't put any stock in him. I could see Brendan Allen just taking his back and choking him out real quick. So, um, Kevin Holland doesn't have too much power on the feet. He mainly just likes to use like push kicks and shit like that. So I see Brendan Allen can, just win a few rounds with top control and just, get the win. And then we got Sean Brady versus Court McGee. This guy Sean Brady's a young guy, not much film on him. Good boxing, creative striking. He's 10-0 out of New Jersey. And you guys know Court McGee. This guy's been around for a long time. I picked him against Diego Lima. Big mistake because he had no defense for the leg kicks, and he looked so old in that fight. His only hope in that fight was the takedown, and he couldn't get it. So he's 34. Sean Brady's 26. Sean Brady's a black belt, so Court's gonna have trouble implementing the grappling in this one. Brady seems to have good fundamentals, a nice leg kick on him, and he's fought some good competition so far. He hasn't fought anyone with a negative record, so that's good out of a debuting fighter. And I just think Court McGee's going to be outmatched in this one. This dude Sean Brady has sick guillotines, and he's pretty dominant on the ground. So, I just don't think Court McGee's going to have any advantages in this one. So I got Brady. Got Kyle Bochniak versus Sean Woodson, another guy at the Contender Series, and Kyle Bochniak. This dude's a warrior, man. Always has fun fights. This is a guaranteed fun fight. Someone's probably getting finished. Uh, this guy Sean Woodson's he's so tall for this weight class, man. 6'2", more like 6'3" in featherweight. That's unheard of. And then you got Kyle Bochniak. He went to war with Zabit. He didn't win a round, but but he does have wins over guys like Enrique Barzola and Brandon Davis. So he's not a complete bum. Sean Woodson, he won his Contender Series fight on 5 days' notice. He was getting controlled in that fight on the ground in the first round, but he came out in that second round, just kneed that guy in the face and starched him cold. On a 5-day notice fight, that's all you could ask for. This guy has a very stiff, powerful jab, very dynamic on the feet, and he has great cardio. And Bochniak, man, all of his losses are from fighters taller than him. If you look at it, Dawadu's a few inches taller than him. Zabit, he's about as tall as Woodson. Kennedy's a few inches taller than him, and Rosa's a few inches taller than him. So, he seems to have trouble with guys with the reach advantage. Sean Woodson's 6'2" with the 9-inch reach advantage. And I just think this is a bad matchup for Bochniak. He's not the most technical guy. He kind of relies on his toughness. And I think if he tries to rely on his toughness too much in this fight, Woodson will put him out cold. So, I got Woodson in that one. Randy Costa versus Boston Salmon. Costa fought Brandon Davis in his last fight, and Boston Salmon got slept by Kali Taha in his last fight. Randy Costa is he's like a crazy striker. All first round finishes, and all in the first minute of the first round. Man, this dude just has a real unorthodox style, and man, people can't seem to deal with it. He was giving Brandon Davis a lot of trouble in that fight, and I just think Boston Salmon, his defense is so bad, man. His very average striking, bad defense. And, once I saw that, he has no submission wins. He's just a pure striker as well. Instantly, I just had to pick Randy Costa in this fight. Salmon's defense is just too bad. I see Costa just putting them away in the first round. So next up, we got Molly McCann versus Diana Belbitâ. Uh, pick. I predicted Molly McCann's last fight to a T, man, versus Ariane Lipski. Like, go check out my prediction for that card. Uh, man, like this girl, a lot of people were picking against her in that fight, and I thought she had the perfect skill set to win that fight. Now they're giving her Diana, which it seems like an easy win in my opinion. Um, this girl Diana Belbitâ is very green. She seems like a Invicta prelim level fighter. Like she just doesn't have a very high skill set. I mean, she has a loss to Ariane Lipski via submission. Like, come on, man, that's as low as it gets. Um, Molly McCann, she could be a problem in this division. She has a nice check left hook, very well-rounded ground game, and Molly should dominate this fight in my opinion from start to finish. So next up, we got Manny Bermudez versus Charles Rosa. Manny Bermudez let a lot of people down in his last fight versus Casey Kenny. Took his first loss, and you know he just he missed weight in that fight too. So he's moving up a division. Charles Rosa's coming off a long layout. Hasn't fought since 2017. And, this guy, he got beat by Dennis Seaver, man. He got controlled on the ground. Never really seemed to evolve into a new level, a new age fighter. Got slept by Shane Burgos in his last fight. Bermudez took his first loss. I think he's going to be motivated. You know, I'm expecting improved cardio, 145. He was a huge bantamweight, but he's a good sized featherweight. Um, you know, I expect him to just choke out Rosa in the first round. This guy's his jujitsu is just something else, man. So, um, at his new weight class, I'm expecting him to have a lot of success. Got Bermudez in that one. And then we got Deron Winn versus Darren Stewart. Deron Winn's Daniel Cormier's prodigy. Um, over there, AKA, and Darren Stewart. He fought Bevon Lewis in his last fight. I picked him against Lewis in that fight, and he made me proud. He did what I thought he could. He did high output, kind of just controlled it in the clinch, and got a very boring win. Um, Deron winning his last fight, fought Eric Spicely. He got fight of the night. It was an exciting fight, man. He just threw bombs the whole time, worked the body of Spicely. It was a beautiful performance that a lot of people weren't expecting from him. Um, a lot of people were expecting him to shoot for the takedown right away, but he wanted to prove a point, and I think he could be a problem in this middleweight division. Um, he showed great cardio in his debut, and I think this is a bad matchup for Stewart. Um, Stewart likes to do a lot of his work in the clinch, and uh, that's not a good idea against Winn because man, he's vicious in the clinch, nasty double leg, but he chose to keep it on the feet for his last fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of tries to grind Stewart out, similar to what Edmund Shabazian did to him. Um, you know, Stewart leaves himself open to the takedowns a lot. Um, so I see Winn could either grind him out with the takedowns, or he could keep it on the feet because Winn's boxing is surprisingly good. Stewart does have a lot of power though, so um, I say he'll play it safe and try to grind Stewart out and get that easy win. Then we got Maycee Barber versus Gillian Robertson. Um, this girl Maycee Barber got a lot of hype behind her, and she did get dropped in her last fight versus JJ Aldridge. I watched that fight, and she didn't seem to. She really didn't do anything until she did when she finished Aldridge in the second round. Um, Gillian Robertson, she fought Sarah Froder in her last fight, finished her in the second round as well. Before that, she finished Veronica Macedo. Before that, she finished Molly McCann. Before that, she finished Emily Whitmire. And, she's a Dean Thomas pupil. She got him in her corner. Maycee's looked good so far. But I'd say Gillian has fought the better competition. Um, Gillian's more of a grappler, as you probably know. She has impeccable jiu-jitsu with a great top control, man. Very strong on the top, floats very well. And, her chokes ain't no joke, man. She's been improving her grounders pound as well as of late, getting that finish over Froda. I don't think Maycee has fought anyone with Gillian's grappling ability. This girl Gillian, man, she has a very nice double leg, very clean takedown entries. And when she gets you down, you usually don't get back up. Barber's, I think she's believing in her own hype a little bit too much. She's very good, but she hasn't really fought anyone. Like Jamie Colleen, come on. Hannah Cyrus is decent, and JJ Aldrich is decent too, but these girls ain't really no one. So, Robertson has a better resume. I don't think Barber has dealt with anyone's grappling like Robertson. So, I got Gillian Robertson in that one. I see Gillian taking her back and getting the rear naked choke. And then we got Joe Lauzon versus Jonathan Pearce. Lauzon's a veteran, man. He's a legend in this sport, I guess you could say. He did always lose to the top level fighters. Sometimes he won, but he's been fighting for a long time. Got Jonathan Pearce. Another guy at the Contender Series, man. The UFC might be full of Contender Series guys pretty soon. Because, man, these guys they're just making a rise. Every card, there's at least one Contender Series fighter out there. So, Joe does have a questionable chin. He hasn't really evolved much over the years. Lately he's been losing to guys like Stevie Ray and Chris Gutzenmacher. So, he's kind of at the end of his road. Pearce is on a nice little win streak. He does have 3 losses earlier in his career, but since then, he did get a 3rd round TKO on the Contender Series. Shows some good cardio. In this one, honestly, I just think Lauzon is too old. He's taken too much damage over the years, and Pearce does have some quick hands. He's shown that he has some knockout power, so I think he can get Lauzon out of there at some point. We got Greg Hardy versus Ben Sosoli. This guy Ben Sosoli, he likes to keep his hands down in his fights. I noticed that. I remember him on the Ultimate Fighter a little bit. He lost his fight on there. He won one, then he got on the Contender Series and kicked the guy or he poked him in the eye. And, he likes to keep his hands down. And that's just the perfect way to get starched in the first round by Hardy. You do not want to keep your hands down against a guy like Greg Hardy, man. This guy, man, his power is insane. But we might see Hardy implement some grappling in this fight because, Sosoli's takedown defenses that he's shown on film is, been very weak. He seems to have zero takedown defense. So if Greg Hardy wants to go that route, he's training over there at ATT. So, he very well could do that. But, I see him getting them out of there pretty quick, probably in the first 20 seconds, just sleeping them. Yeah, man, this guy, Greg Hardy, against this kind of level of competition, I see him doing very well. Then we got Yair Rodriguez versus Jeremy Stephens. As we seen, this fight was a few weeks ago, originally in Mexico City, and it only lasted about 20 seconds. But what we saw in those 20 seconds is, Yair was too fast for him. He landed about 5 kicks in the first 20 seconds, so, and then he eye poked Jeremy Stephens. It was a legit eye poke, and Stephens couldn't open his eye after, but before that, you could just tell that Rodriguez was too fast for him. His kicks were a little too much, the speed difference, and Stephens didn't really have an answer for it. I don't see much changing in a few weeks, so I got Rodriguez all day in that one. We got the main event, Weidman versus Dominick Reyes, and this isn't worthy of a main event in my opinion, but it is there, 5 rounds, scheduled for 5 rounds. So let's break it down. Reyes has a 2-inch height advantage, and the reach is pretty much the same. Weidman's moving up because he was falling off at 185. He never really had much power at middleweight against guys like Jacare or against guys like Musasi and Romero. He didn't fight that much, man. He was very inactive. And now he's moving up to light heavyweight. And I don't think, I think he's going to be even weaker at light heavyweight. Like, there's going to be a huge size advantage for Reyes in this fight. And, this guy Weidman's just taken so much damage over the years, man. Getting knocked out by Yoel, getting slept by Jacare in his last fight. But let's look at Reyes, man. He's 6 years younger, 11-0, and he has wins over guys like Oven St. Preux and Volkan Ozdemir. A lot of people were hating on him for that Volkan Ozdemir fight, but look at you see how dangerous Ozdemir is, man. He just slept Yair Latifi not too long ago. He slept Jerry Cannonier in the first round. This guy has some good wins in his short UFC career. And, he'll have a massive size advantage. Obviously, Weidman's game has always been the grappling. And I don't see Weidman taking him down at all. In the comments, let me know how you guys pronounce it. Weidman or Weidman, I'm not sure. But, so I don't see Weidman being able to take Reyes down, man. I see Reyes attacking the body. And, Weidman's had a lot of injuries over the years, man. He's just getting over a serious neck injury that he talked about in the Ariel Helwani show. He's moving up to light heavyweight, man. I don't think it's the right move. I think he should have retired. After that, I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to move on with his career, but you're moving up to light heavyweight, man, with these big boys, and I think he's gonna find out how it feels. I see Reyes attacking the body and getting Weidman out of there at some point. If Weidman gets KO'd bad in this fight, I hope he retires because, I don't want to see this guy take any more damage. I don't think he would have beat Anderson Silva if he didn't break his leg, but the world will never know. So, he has 1 win in his last 5 fights, and I see Reyes just dominating this fight. That's all for this card. In Boston, TD Garden, you know, Dana White's hometown, so he put some good fights on this card. Hopefully we go 13 for 13 this week. And, thank you guys for watching. Shout out to all my subscribers. Leave a comment. Tell me if you disagree with any of my picks, and I'll shout you out in the next video if you're right. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time.